Here we are. Well, welcome to Frigate Jeep. My name's John, and my objective today, need my head checked, don't I, is to, did you get dizzy there? Get that tree down. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of you should have done it, you should have done it, you should have done it. You know, let me get this straight. I'm not a tree dropper, or tree faller, or forestry guy, or nothing like that. Trees like that kind of scare me a bit, or I show them a little more respect, maybe, or whatever. But I'm not a tree faller. I might have a chainsaw, but that doesn't make me a tree dropper. I might have a piano, but I can't play the piano. Oh, we do have a piano. Yeah, and I got a pool table, but I can't play pool. Doesn't mean you got it. Means you can use it. Just means you got it. So that's the objective today. Now I'm gonna warm up the chainsaws and move this thing around. I don't know if you recall the other day, the Jeep was sitting here. Now the Jeep is sitting up there. I don't think it'll reach that stuff. There's not much stuff there that it can hurt anyway. And I don't think it's 100 feet tall, and I know it's 100 foot from there to over here. So I don't think it's 100 foot, and then when it comes down, it's gonna leave a heck of a mess with branches. Now it's leaning, I don't know if you can tell, it's leaning that way, but I want it to come this way. So it's going to be challenging, and I'm going to try to take a shortcut as usual, because that's what I do. Is I'm going to try not to cable it down and hope I don't crash anything. I don't think there's too much stuff over here that it can hurt if it comes down in this area. In fact, I don't think there's anything it can hurt. I've got a whole pile of those air conditioners out of here, but bees are getting into these now, and they're getting a little restless, so I ain't getting into that stuff. So anyhow, oh, and the Jeep set on that and set on that. So anyhow, I'm gonna warm the chainsaw up, and I'm gonna try to bring you along a little bit. I don't know exactly where to put you guys to drop that, because I'm not a multi-camera guy, and I don't have my normal tripod. This is a little one, and it only comes up to about my belly button when you stand it down, but I don't know what I did with the other one, so this is what we're gonna do. Anyhow, I'll bring you back when the chainsaw's warm up, and I'll start chomping into it, and move some vehicles around, and we'll see what we can destroy. See you in a bit. Bye-bye. Well, we got an instant change of plans here. As I get over to it, like I said, you can't tell it's leaning that way. But when I get back to it, got closer to it, because I never really inspected it, which is par for the course. I guess step one is know what you're cutting, but I don't know how to follow steps too well. Awful rotted down here, so if I cut a notch out, it may be rotted so back it wants to leave before I get what's going on. I can't take you up this tree very well, but it's also leaning backwards, and I want it to go that way. So I think the safest thing, you can see where I kicked out some of the bark down here. I guess you can see. Need a woodpecker. You can kind of get an idea that it's all rotten down here, so you just, if I keep kicking it a little bit longer, might not have to use a chainsaw. Oh, there's one of the kids' bugs. I think this is black oak. It's got pretty good bark on it. Anyhow, it's like all the other trees that I've been splitting up down there. I don't cut down big ones. So I'm gonna go get the Bobcat, put the cable on it, and I'm gonna put the cable like up in there, and just put some, maybe keep it from going the wrong direction tension on it. How does that sound? So we'll be back in a little bit. Yeah, this thing's up to my belly button. We'll see you in a bit. Well, I hope you'll be able to see me put the cable on it. I'm gonna reach up as high as I can. Guess I ought to move the chainsaw, which you can't see down there, so I don't redo that. If I keep it over the edge, maybe you can see a little bit better. Oh, sit down over there. Run the Bobcat in. lot of nonsense in between the actual action. Not that there's a whole lot of action here. Let me see. I can't even see in the camera if I got where I needed to get or got you guys in it, but if you're not, it's up there. It's probably about, I don't know, 6-7 feet tall. And I'm just gonna drive back there and put a little tension on it. So we'll put you in a, I could probably pull that tree over. I really think I could. But I don't want to put too much tension in it, because if I do, when I start to cut my wedgie, it'll fly apart. Oh, Lordy. And I forgot to put in gear anyway. I didn't have gear yet. Boom cat running. I could probably hang on that. I don't know. I don't even think you can see that. I was hanging on the cable. That's where we're at. I put back to first position. Then I looked up at that tree and I said, I think I'll give it a little bit more. So I'm going to put you on the other side over here. Kind of, if it crashes, maybe the camera will survive. You're probably going to see a lot of my backside from here. Well, maybe that ain't a great spot. Well, you can see me cut the notch. Oh, I forgot my eye gear. And it's a long way away. I ain't gonna get it, so forgive me. I'm not a good notcher, and I don't usually cut them that low. That thing's leaning more the other way. You know something? I think I'm just gonna pull it. I really think I'd be better off just pulling it, because as soon as you let off of that, it's I don't know how rotten it is in the back. Let me turn this off. I think I'd be better off just pulling it. I don't know where the most exciting place to be for you guys to watch. I'm pretty sure at this point I can just pull it. A little bit deeper notch than I like, but that's just the way it is. You know, maybe I'll cut some of that bottom off of there. I think I'll cut some of that bottom off. That's a little bit bigger than I like, or a little bit smaller than I like. Like I said, this is not me. I think I'm just gonna pull that over. I'll put you guys with me. That, you can't see it. I'll show you after I cut it down. That thing's so rotten down there. I don't know what it's gonna do. But it's gonna come down. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, it'll come down and won't hurt anything. If it's real lucky, it'll come down and won't hurt anything and hurt me. If I'm really, really lucky, it'll come down about where I want it to be. I don't know if you can get that much luck. I think I'll put you guys right here, and I don't know, I guess you can see about the whole crash. Let's see what this place will do. You know something? I pulled the whole root ball up, I think. It was a little more solid than I thought. But I thought the winch had enough power to just pull it over, root ball and all. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And it's fallen. I'm all right with where it fell, except for, you know, like always, you got a mess to clean up. I'll bring a basket back for the little crap. But it missed the backhoe leg. Took out one of those poplars that was hanging it up in the back, which I don't really care about that either. No, it pulled it pulled some of the stump up. So that had a little bit more meat back there than I thought, which is good. But you can see I didn't know where this vein went. I didn't know whether it got bigger or not, so I guess it's just gonna be a one shot. No, I got an intro I gotta put on this thing. I'm gonna cut that off so it's a little bit nicer there, so I don't have to mess with that. Put that on. And the forestry people like you cutting the stump off as low as you can. That's why I usually cut them up higher. I usually cut them up at about a 5-wood piece length. For some reason I cut this a little bit low. I guess I'm out of practice. I gotta go get some stuff and start cleaning things up. I wish you'd seen that side one come down. It exploded pretty good. So I'll be back in a bit. Bye-bye. I forgot to introduce the winch to you guys and meant to show you. Can you see the front wheels off the ground? That thing had enough pull, I had to dig in a little bit. This is a winch. It pulls single strand 20,000 pounds. And I didn't see the necessity, whatever, to snatch block this one. And it was, even at 20,000, it was pulling the Bobcat along. You can kind of, can you see the skid marks? Whereas the pile of leaves in front of it, it was pulling me. So I just pushed the nose down in. I'll back out of there. I had to lighten up the cord. I can't get the cable out down there yet because it's underneath the tree. So this thing's built with a big splash guard in case the cable breaks. I've had the cable break one time, and that cable was so heavy it just dropped to the ground. It never, and I was pulling, broke the chain. I was pulling 80,000 pounds when it broke because I had double snatch block on it. Anyway, that was a past video. Anyhow, that's the chain, and that's the winch, and that's a 1-minute update. Bye. Hi guys. Well, I got the tree down. Now I got to start cleaning up some stuff. I had to bring the tool cat out because the Bobcat cable's underneath that. So I'm going to start cutting it down. The little pieces, just throw them in my basket here. Now somebody wrote a thing. How come I finally graduated to a big bar or something like that? And out on the West Coast, there are a lot of people that watch a lot of people think they got to have a big bar. Well, to me, a big bar or a bit longer chain. Okay, I use the smallest one I can. The reason I use the smallest one I can, this chain's a lot cheaper than big chain. A lot less teeth to sharpen. And there's no reason, if you got the ability to get your tree up off the ground, you don't have to bend over. I think that's why most people use the long bar. Now, if you don't have something to pick it up and get it off the ground, or it's too big, then you got to use the big one. So use what you ever want. Why is it that knots always land right where your cut is? How do they know? This still might be holding up this, but this still might be holding up some of this. So I'm going to start up here with this one here, get it out of the way. With a big bar and a big chain. Now, if you look at this, right here is that hypoxylon canker. That's what killed this tree. So that's it for, I'm gonna be chopping it up and putting the stuff in the wagon over there. Man, this is a messy tree. A lot of bark. Woo. But it won't take too long to get it up. A couple years. All right, we'll see you later. Well, now that I've gotten done with the little saw, I stopped with a little saw up in there someplace. Then you move the next one. This is only a 16-inch bar. But I'm off the ground so I won't plow, and I don't care how lucky I am. I always plow the dirt. I just plowed it with a little one on a little one. So let's see if this old saw will start back up. It doesn't. When you turn it off, you got to turn it off with the choke because the switch doesn't work. I guess I forgot to put full throttle too. This might be a rather long video tonight, but I'm hoping to pick that up. The Toolcat wouldn't pick that up. I'm hoping that the Bobcat will. I know that Bobcat will. That thing's strong. I'm still trying to work around. I got a piece of equipment there. I can't think what I'm thinking of. Bush hog. Oh, wore out bush hog. So I'm going to try to sneak around that. Figured you might want to come along for this crash. I'm not sure. Buddy down here, it's a wet area. This thing is a little more difficult than that Toolcat. So I can tell you when you got it up. I guess you're not supposed to get out when the forks up or loaded like that, but guess what? That's the way it is. Now I'm just going to go down. You guys know, you guys have seen me saw enough logs up. I don't know how long that is. No, I'm not going to put it on the sawmill. It ain't worth putting on the sawmill. You saw all the rot in it. So how long do you think that is? I'll measure it and get back to you after I chop it up. I'm guessing 10, 20. I don't think it's going to make 30 foot. So I'll measure it just for the heck of it and get back with you after I got it all cut up and on the ground. We'll see you in a bit. Well, this is the end of the end. This is the end. Anyhow, I got it all cut up. Ran out of gas in the one saw, had to switch to the bigger bar. But one thing I did notice, it was exactly 28 feet long. I mean exactly 28 feet long. Look at this. If you said take it to the sawmill, you guys know what that is. Oh, I can't get that one up. It's too heavy. But you can see it down there. You can see it down there. You can really see it in this one here. So I might have to get the old metal detector out. Now this tree was in the woods. Okay, before I cleared all this out, because this used to all be woods here, okay? That used to be in the woods, and we'll have to figure out how high that, at 18 inches, 18, 18, 18, 18, 18. That's, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's over 5 feet up. I'm gonna get the metal detector out and play around with that. There might even be some up in this one, little traces of it. Be interesting to find what I find. Well, that's your 1 minute update. If you made it this far, now tell me you ain't glad I didn't put it on the sawmill. We'll see you. Bye-bye.